Okay. Now, yun yung mga problema na i-encounter natin, right? And what we can do is to automate such tasks para mas mapadali yung work. So, isang click lang, gagawin niya na lahat. Pwedeng, pag nag-trigger yung value na yun, i-email na automatically into your clients, or biglang magta-transform siya, or mag-add ng another templates, and just automate the task. And when I say automate task, yung mga repetitive task, you don't need to do it manually every done time, no? So, mas-shorten yung time natin just to confirm, just to, sort the data, filter the data, clean up the data. So meron dalawang paraan sa Excel, and that is the macro or VBA, available only on the desktop. So hindi siya available in 365 web app, if you're familiar with that. So macro or VBA, VBA stands for Visual Basic for Application. So macro means you record. It's like playing, you want to hear a music all over again, and you want to hear that music long time before. Hindi pa uso yung mga Spotify. So may narinig ka in radio, you need to press the recording button. And when you record that, and when you store it on a cassette, syempre, para i-play mo na siya, i-play mo lang yung button. Ganun lang yun din sa macro. You need to do that task, meaning you record the task. And whenever you retrieve that task, uulitin mo yung task na yon ng same procedure, same step, pero different lang yung mga data. And you want to apply that task on the different data. So ipi-play mo na lang siya, no? So record, store, and play. That's the only way to do it in a macro. But if you want to interact with different, let's say, Excel file folder and every other, let's say, email, you want to automatically rename a file or delete the file or move the file to another folder, or you want to automatically email something like that. You can do that through a VBA. Of course, you need to code it, and it will take a lot of time and a planning and writing of coding just to do that task. Napakasimpleng task, ang dami mong type na code. So Visual Basic for application. The second one is the Power Query. Power Query is a tool, yung binabanggit ko kanina, na ETL, no? ETL, extract, transform, and load. So hindi yung naglo-load ng 10 pesos, hindi yon. You extract the information from the CSV file, from the folder, and kung ano man yon, kung saan galing yung file na yon. No? And then, pag na-extract mo na, ipapasok mo siya sa Excel. Tawag doon importing. And then, once na pasok mo na siya, pwede mo siyang i-transform. Pwede mong i-remove yung mga data without affecting the original source data. So yung reliability or integrity ng file na retain natin, hindi natin binago, tinamper yung original file. And finally, the final step would be loading. So ilo-load mo siya either into whatever report. So that's the Power Query. Power means powerful. Query means you ask a question. You want to pull out a certain information. Meron kang gustong impormasyon na gustong kunin, no? A piece of information. Hindi lahat yun ay kukunin mo. And kailangan mo lang siyang i-pull out. That's the Power Query. And Power Query is available not only in Excel, but also in the Power BI and some Power App in Excel. So business application yon sa online. Pero kung Excel lang naman ang ginagamit mo, then you can use this Power Query. Okay? So I'm going to focus and introduce in the Power Query. That's automate. And the advantage over the Power Query over the macro is hindi mo na kailangan ng coding. Hindi mo na kailangan mag-write ng code. You just need to go navigate to the tools, necessary tools, and that's it. No? Napakasimple lang siya. Okay, Power Query has 3 phases. Tatlong muka. Hindi. Tatlong step import, clean, and load. Ganun lang yung step na yon. Now, whether you import and during the importation, you combine the several data or a single data, and then you can import from online, pwede rin yun. You can clean up and load. So let's discuss a little bit about the importation. So the import, you can import from the website, either from online Yahoo, let's say finance, or from the Wikipedia if you have a bunch of data. Pwede yun. Meron ding SQL or SQL, SQL. I don't know how you call that. So pwedeng SQL, pwedeng SQL. So pwede ring ibang SaaS as is services, database, mga server. Pwedeng galing yan doon diretso nang hindi nyo kailangan i-download. Pwede ring sa PDF, pwede ring sa Excel file, galing sa Excel file, pwede ring sa Google Sheet. Yes. Pwedeng ma-import galing sa Google Sheet. And this is the new one. You can import from the image. Picturean mo lang yung file, and then you can import your Excel file. So imagine having a lot of time just to encode each of the file, each of the data or records into your spreadsheet. Napakatagal yun. So you can import that, let's say an image na picturean yung let's say spreadsheet, wala kang copy ng software, you can import that through an image. And once na ma-capture na yan, pwede nyo na siyang i-import doon sa PDF ay sa ating Power Query. Okay, so clean the data. Now, this is the second step. You can format. When I say format, you change the appearance. You want to have a dollar sign. You want to have a dashes. You want to separate it to dashes. You want to capitalize the letters. Capitalize first letter. You want to change the cases. Ang dami mong pwedeng gawin. Ibig sabihin, papalitan mo kung anong nakikita mo doon sa data. Yung number, yung dating number na text, magiging number siya. Or yung dating text na January, magiging date siya. Pwede nyong palitan yung data type then as well. You can change the position. Yung dating pa row, pwede siyang gawing vertical. Yung dating vertical, naging horizontal. Yung position ng mga data. Nang hindi kailangan isa-isahin or i-copy-paste isa-isa yung mga file or mga data. So, pwedeng unpivot or pivot or what we call transpose. Yun yung mga options mo when it comes to changing positions. You can also replace yung values. So let's say yung dating X, tatanggalin mong X, gagawin mong current kasi nawala na siya. Hindi na siya sa X mo. Yung X mo, papalitan mo na. Current na lang siya. So yes, pwede mong i-replace yung mga values. Not only numbers, but also text, but also characters. As well as, ito yung wala sa Excel na meron dito sa Power Query. Yung feed line feed, o yung mga lines, mga katulad, or yun yung pwede mong palitan. And calculation. You can aggregate, you can use a VLOOKUP without using a formula. Yes, you can perform all those tools as well. So ang tawag doon merging. Anyway, we're not going to get there. So introduction lang naman to. So at least you have an idea of what we're talking about here. So load. Ito, hindi ito yung sun or globe or smart. Hindi. You load the data. You want to put that. Once you clean up the data, pwede mo na siyang ilapat, i-summarize into table or a pivot table or pivot chart or simply a connection. So imagine you have a 1 gigabyte of data, millions of folders, millions of records, millions of whatever na data. And ilalagay mo sa Excel, imagine that. It will take time. It will slow down your data, and it use up a lot of memory on your Excel or on your computer, especially if you only have a Celeron type of memory or computing system. Syempre, gagamitin mo na lang connection, meaning ipapasok mo na lang siya as connections. And that's a good thing kasi pag connection lang siya, yung 1 gigabyte magiging, let's say, 100 MB lang siya. Or dating 100 MB magiging 50 kilobytes lang. So napaka-simple na i-compress nga yung mga data. And I think that's it. So just introduction. Now I want to show you how to do this. So papakita ko lang ang aking sikretong malupit, 'di ba? Sikretong malupit. Okay. Now this one is the folder. My objective is I want to transform my data. First thing first, I have to look at my source data to folder. So you see. So sa folder na yan, of course, this is a folder. It contains a single PDF file. And ang laman ng PDF file, pag inopen natin siya, mga Lodi, ayan. Pag inopen natin siya, probably there would be other data prior to this. So mayroong maka-header siguro or mga kung ano mang kaek-ekan sa loob ng PDF file na yan. But the bottom line here is we just want to bring this source data into our file, into our Excel, and transform into something, like this. With the sample. Yeah. Dito, yeah, transform. So, i-open ko tong file. Okay, nakikita natin. Yan. So, dapat magiging ganito yung style niya, no? Makikita agad natin sino dito yung name na walang contact number, sino yung walang email address, sino yung wala pang address. And yes, hindi consistent yung ating data. May mga data na walang email addresses, walang address, walang contact number. And it's really difficult to identify that by just looking at this with this type of structure of data. And normally, ito yung mga structured na data natin. Ang tawag dito is non-structured data. Hindi siya structured. Kailangan lang natin ayusin yung data. And normally, gagawin natin siguro i-paste natin, isa-isahin natin. And or minsan ita-type natin manually. And having a different type of size or case. May mga lower, may mga upper, so Jejemon baga yung name. So hindi siya consistent. So I wanted to simply use I want to simply use the Power Query, and the Power Query is really helpful to manage this, and ika-capitalize niya yan, and maglalagay ng email address, and pansinin niyo maayos na yung mga text. So may mga particular dito na ayan. Okay, so hindi rin consistent yung kanyang text cases. So gusto natin i-automate yon nang hindi na natin kailangan imano-manong i-type isa-isa or i-copy-paste isa-isa. So galing yan sa PDF at yun dapat ang ating magiging summary. Yun dapat ang magiging output ng ating data. And on top of that, aside from that, of course, meron pa tayong new data. So, titingnan natin sa PDF file siya. Okay, ang laman niya 3 records lang. So, idadagdag natin to and dapat mag-update na automatically yung ating summary. Okay? So, first, I want to open a Excel file. So, I'm running a Microsoft Excel 365 in a Windows 11 operating system. So if you're running a 365 in Windows 10, that's okay, or Windows 8, that's fine. Power Query is available on 2016 version and above. Now, if you have 2010 or 2013 version of Excel, you need to download an installation where, there's a Google. Just Google it, how to install the Power Query. But I'm not going to suggest that kasi may mga certain issues doon sa version na yan. Hindi na siya updated, hindi na rin supported ng Microsoft yung 2010 and 2013 as of the moment. Although pwede mo siyang ilagay pero may mga certain issues doon. So I suggest na dapat may 2019 version ka para lang ma-access. Native na siya, hindi nyo na kailangan na installation. So I'm running a 365, so by the way. So I'm going to open a file, so a blank file. So, pag na-open ko na yung Excel, so may mga blank workbook. So, paano ko i-access yung file na yon? So, meron tayong mga tab here and we can navigate, we can access the Power Query within the data tab. You see that? It's the data tab. Within the data tab, nakikita natin yung get and transform. In 2016 version of Excel, get and transform is located in the second group, while in the queries and connection is located right there. It sits right there. Anyway, pareho lang naman, get and transform data and queries and connection. At this point, our objective is to import the PDF file from the folder. So meron tayong option dito where I can get the file from file. So I have a bunch of options, by the way, here, which I discussed a while ago, na pwede nyo siyang i-import directly without tampering the original file. So let's say I want to import that data from a file. So let's go ahead and select this from file, and we have another option here. It makes sense to select the PDF file because our source data is in PDF file. So pwede ko ba itong i-select? Yes. But let's check the data. Meron pang PDF file dito na gusto kong i-add in case na may additional na update ako from another PDF file. And if I have to choose or I chose the PDF file, I need another step, further step, in order to append, in order to consolidate those PDF file or additional PDF file, just in case. So, ibig sabihin, yung PDF file na to, i-combine ko dun sa isa pang PDF file. That would take another step. And I don't want to get that to another step. Ayaw ko ng isa pang step. Gusto kong isang step lamang. So, kung isang step lang kailangan ko, I want to select instead of from file, from PDF, I have to go with from folder. Because my file is located within the folder. So every time that I add PDF file within that folder, it will automatically consolidate whatever PDF file that I have within the folder. So maganda kung from folder na lang. So I get to data tab, get data, from file, and then from folder. Let's get to that. And then, okay. And then from folder, hanapin natin yung folder na yon. Ang purpose lang is to locate the folder, not the PDF file. Ayan, so sample. Okay. Now, kung mapapansin natin, walang laman, hindi nakita yung PDF file. Well, we're just going to locate the folder, not the file. So hanapin lang natin kung saan yung root folder, kung saan nakalocate yung ating PDF file. Okay? And I'm going to open. In some version, hindi agad ito yung mag-appear. Probably you might see another dialog box and another, from the dialog box, another browser. So it depends on the version. But in 365, direct na doon sa directory, hahanapin na lamang. So this is folder, so I'm going to open, and it will bring us to another dialog. Okay, this dialog shows all the file within the folder. And at this point, isa lang naman yung file natin, so don't want to worry about. If there are some other files as well, it's okay. You can filter that later on. Pero since PDF file naman, and we expect that it only contains PDF file, we don't need to worry about it. So, meron tayo sa baba na combine, load, and transform. Which one? Do I need to combine it? I'm not going to combine it, and it may take a risk na baka makombine ko din yung mga hindi kasama dapat na i-combine. Pwede ko bang i-load? Hindi ko pa nakakombine. Bakit ko i-load? So I have to transform it, and the transform is basically the best practice whenever you import the data, you have to start with transform, not load, not combine. Yun yung best practice. Now, as you can see, meron tayong isang window. At this point, this is a program within the program of Excel files. So meron siyang toolbar na kapareho, almost same with the toolbar that we have on Excel file. Meron mga ribbon din, as you can see. Okay. At the left-hand side, nakikita natin yung name ng folder. Okay, kasi yun yung folder name and this is the name, the steps. Dito natin makikita yung mga nire-record nating step. Bawat galaw, bawat kibot natin dito, makikita natin. So at this point, palitan ko muna yung name. I'm going to call this name list name without space, perhaps. Okay? And dito na, gagawin natin yung bawat steps. So, okay, so ang unang step is I want to remove all other columns. So makikita natin yung mga details like the extension, the name of the file, kung kailan siya in-access, kung kailan siya create. So meron ditong double down, okay? So I just need to, before I have to click on it, I have to remove all other columns. So right click, meron ditong remove, but if I do this, I have to remove the content only. And I want to remove all other content columns except, syempre ito. So I'll go with remove other columns, and there you go. So ito na lang yung natitira. And then once I'm done, I'm just going to click the double down, and that means I have to combine all the files. Isang click lang, wag galit, wag diinan. And let's sit a while and relax. Tingnan natin ano yung data. Now this is a dialog box where it shows the table within the PDF file. So as you can see, meron siyang table and then my page. Anong pagkakaiba ng dalawa? Well, ang page table po, kung may mga ibang text ka or may mga paragraph ka, hindi niya isasama yan. Pero kapag page, isasama niya yung lahat ng laman sa iisang page. At this point, I'll go with the table kasi just to save lang, just in case there would be a other information aside from the table that we have on the PDF file, hindi siya mapapasama. So table na lang para safe tayo. Kasi pag page, malamang at sa malamang baka may maglagay ng mga pages or mga description outside doon sa table, and it will bring that data into our Power Query, and we want to prevent that. So kailangan table lang, table. And when we click OK, okay, and there you go. So meron tayong column dito, and lahat ng information ay na-extract niya. Pero gusto kasi natin palitan yung details, gusto natin i-separate, no? Paano kaya natin siya papalitan, no? Paano natin siya i-split? First thing first, mapapansin natin may mga steps na tayo on the right-hand side. So hindi natin siya ginawa, pero somehow it turns out that the Excel understand the step and recorded those steps. And hindi na tayo mag-worry. Now, meron isang step sa pinakahuli na change type, which is meaning babaguhin natin yung type from having different type to, let's say, kung number siya, kung date siya, mapapalitan siya. So technically, si Excel, alam niya na kung anong type ng data to. Well, I don't need this because it will mess up our transformation. Walang undo sa Power Query. You cannot Control Z if you want to do that. The only way to undo it, it's not about, it's not pressing Control Z. So hindi na possible yung Control Z dito. Instead, I'm just going to remove that step. There you go. Although nothing happens, makikita natin na instead ng ABC lang siya, naging ABC 1 to 3. So wala siyang idea kung anong data to. Now, the second way is to split it into different columns. Now, yung may mga email, address, contact, blah, blah, blah. So gusto natin siyang i-separate into different columns. So how are we going to do that? Well, meron tong right-click and makikita natin when I right-click the header, we have the split the column. Now, there are a bunch of options here, by the way, but looking at our data, yung ating data ay by position. Kasi ito yung unang line, second line, third line, fourth line. So nakabase sa position. So pwede ba natin siyang split into position? Well, no. I'm not going to do that. Instead, I want to split that into different, let's say, delimiter. Delimiter means may mga separator. Ibig sabihin, ano ba yung mga consistent na nagse-separate doon sa mga values natin? Well, yung name at saka yung email, they are separated by line feed ang tinatawag doon. Line feed because next line, next line, next line. So we're going to split the column into by delimiter. And by delimiter, we're going to choose which one. Ang gagawin ko, dahil walang character para sa line feed, tatanggalin ko. Meron ditong custom, mamimili tayo anong delimiter ang gusto natin separator. Well, we cannot identify it. We cannot type the character. So that's why merong special character dito. So I want to tick this and to activate this insert special character. And may mga option dyan like tab, courage, those special character that cannot be defined by a single character. And ang isa doon ay yung line feed, meaning bawat line. So I'll go with the line feed. So there you go. Ito po yung kanyang character. You don't need to think about it. Huwag nyo nang pag-isipan yan. Pero ang ibig pong sabihin yan ay line feed. Okay? And once I'm done, let's just keep that way. This default, wala tayong babaguhin. Dito lang, insert special character. And let's remove first muna kung ano may nasa loob niya bago ka mag-insert special character. Because as you can see, kanina, meron siyang comma. Tinanggal ko muna yun. And then click OK. And then I have a separated column. Now, are we done yet? Now, may mapapansin natin, nag-change type siya. Well, but tanggalin uli natin to. It will mess up our data. So every time na mayroong change type, let's remove that. Okay. Now, meron na tayong name, email address, and the contact number. Are we done? Actually, by looking at the data, merong email and then address in the same column. Well, this email address belong to the second column and the address in the third column. So paano natin aayusin? Pwede ba nating diretsohin na ganyan yung data? Merong isang paraan para baguhin natin yung structure ng data. And if we're going to do that, we have to unpivot the data. So i-unpivot ko muna to. So select ko muna lahat ng column by Control A. And the way I see it, unpivot means you change the position of the data. So yung tong column 1, column 2, column 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, magiging isang column. So nasa vertical siya. And then magiging another type naman, another single column itong lahat ng data. So papalitan niya para siyang door na may hinge. So papalitan yung position. Well, I have to discuss it in my separate training more about this unpivot. But for now, we're going to change the position. So we're going to right click, merong unpivot columns. There you go. And mapapansin natin, napalitan nga at naging isang column na yung nasa ating header. And all of the data are now located sa isang column. Now, tatanggalin ko yung attributes kasi hindi naman natin kailangan yan. So let's remove it. So every time that I'm doing or the task, it will be recorded in this applied steps. Okay, now, are we done? Of course, i-split naman natin yung ating name and email addresses or itong mga details na yan. So, split natin with the delimiter. And ang delimiter na nakikita ko ay yung colon. You can see the colon. It's very consistent. So I just need to right-click and split that with delimiter because there is a consistent separator. Now, we're going to choose this colon as delimiter and each occurrence in delimiter. That's good. I think that's fine. Wala akong masyadong binago. By default na to at naintindihan at na-recognize naman ni Power Query. So I'm going to click OK. So may change type ulit, tanggalin natin. Pero nag-split column. We're good. Are we done yet? Of course, once na na-add na natin, meron pa tayong isang gagawin. Kailangan kong ma-identify kung para kanino yung tatlong column. Kasi hindi consistent. Halimbawa dito, name, email address, contact. Name, email address, walang contact. So gusto natin na yung series of row belongs to a single record. So para ma-identify ko, I have to check on the name. So ang magiging consistency ko dyan ay yung name. So mapapansin natin, name, dapat yung name, email address, contact belongs to Juan de la Cruz. Yung sumunod na record, this name belongs to Mark Anthony, name, email address. And then the next kay Sherin na yung lahat ng bawat field na yan, sa kanya yan. So gagawa ko ng isa pang column para dito lamang, para lang ma-identify kung para kanino yung record na yon. And I want to insert another column. And I have a bunch of options here, but we have to be quick sa conditional column na lamang. So this is a conditional column that requires a formula in Excel, but here we don't need formula. So ang magiging basis ko sa custom, I'm not going to change anything, the name of the column name. So this one, kapag mayroon kang i-add, ito yung name ng column, but for now, hindi ko na babaguhin. And if the value 1, ito yung value 1, is equal to name. By the way, Power Query is case sensitive. So don't type it in lower or uppercase. Kung ano yung name niya, kung ano yung exact text niya, yun ang i-type natin. Then the value would be coming from the selected column, which is in the value 2. So meaning on the value 2. Kung ang value 1 is equal to the name, then the value returns to whatever the value pertains to the value 2. So name, Juan de la Cruz. Kung hindi, blanco. So I'm going to click OK. Otherwise, ito yung otherwise nga, it means else. So when I click OK, there you go. So as you can see, meron ng Juan de la Cruz, ito, Mark Anthony Sherin. And I want to bring the name in every row and Marco Anthony in every row as well. So yung nasa baba niya, dapat yun yung name na bababa. So we have another tool for that. And I have to select this range. And meron din tinatawag na fill. So select that header, right-click, and you have a fill. I can fill it, so I can fill it down. So meaning you fill it down, it means magiging same yung value in every row. So I think that's quite good. Wala na tayong problema. So ano na yung gagawin ko? Well, papalitan ko na yung position nito. Yung kaninang column, gagawin natin siyang rows, every row. I want to put that in every columns. So let's go to right click, and there is an option for us to pivot, but we cannot see pivot here. Merong unpivot, yep, but hindi unpivot ang gagamitin natin. Ang gagamitin natin kasi dito is pivot. So I have to go to transform. Dito natin makikita yung pivot column. So I'm going to select the value, the first column, and pivot. And this is the value to right away, the value columns. And I want to advance. I don't want to aggregate this. Okay, so there you go. So hindi ko siya i-aggregate. Kasi kapag in-aggregate mo by the way, i-add lang niya or i-calculate niya. So don't aggregate. And when I click OK, there you go. So I think we're good. Nakuha na natin yung name, email address, and contact. That's pretty much it. So ano nga ba ginawa natin? Dun sa, balikan natin yung fill down. You see, I changed the position of every similar name. So yung name na yan, yung name, iisang column na lang yan. And under that, kung ano yung name niya. Ganun din, email address, another column yan. So that's why I have selected this and pivot. And pivot, unlike unpivot, you change from, column header to row. Ito, row values into column header. Reverse. So I just need to reverse it, the position. So that's why this is the step that I made. Now, I'm not going to use this custom, so i-remove na natin. And I think we're good. Meron pang kailangan kong gawin. Itong name and address, select the header's name, hold the control key, and while selecting the address in order to select additional, range. And then right-click. Meron ditong transform. Yep, there you go. So we have transform to capitalize each word. And there you have it. So I think na-capitalize na each word. So, yep. Once we're done, I'm going to finalize it by clicking the Home tab. And from the Home tab, may close and load. Merong option dito, close and load to and close and load. But for the sake of discussion and this introduction of this Power Query, I'm just go ahead and click this button. And it should bring that data in this range. So let's see. Okay, so meron na tayong data. And papalitan ko na lamang yung design. For now, walang design. Ayoko nang may design. Hindi ako mahilig doon. And then make it bold for now. So there you go. So I have a bunch of data. Now, what if I have additional PDF file? So puntahan natin yung isa pang file. And in the folder, I only have one name PDF file. So kailangan kong gawin, copy na lang ito. And let's paste it here. Okay, there you go. So we have three records here. Dapat yung Carzon Macarena, and merong isasama natin siya. And then that's it. I-add din natin. Tingnan natin. I'm going to refresh it, this file. Refresh, right-click. And you see the refresh option. And dapat na-add na yung data. So, nandiyan na si Rika, si Macarena. Sino ba to? Bago lang ito. Ayan, Carzon. Ayan. Alright, so nadagdag na yung ating data. So, all in all, that wraps up the Power Query. Napakasimple. Although there are a bunch of details and processes, it's just a one-time process. And every time you have additional data, you only need to refresh your summarized data. I hope you learned a lot today, tonight pala. So that's it. I think that's the introductions of the Power Query. And if you're interested, you can chat me on our Facebook page. And we'll be having a training only particular for this Power Query. So there's a lot of things aside from transformations. Meron din dyan yung parang bulk replacing. Meron tinatawag na ganon. Actually, marami. Yung mga VLOOKUP na formula, hindi na natin kailangan yan dito sa Power Query. Anyway, that's it. Have a good night. Thank you and good night po sa inyo lahat.